Hi folks, and welcome to my thoughts on graphic novel. And today's graphic novel is Batman Year One by DC Comics. Alright, names. Right, so the writer is Frank Miller. The illustrator is David Mazzucchelli. I hope that's how you pronounce that. The colorist is Richmond Lewis. And the lettering is by Todd Klein. As usually, all this will be down below in the description. Alright, now there is a bit of violence in this one, so if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Alright, so the story of Batman Year One, at least how I see it, is how Batman started his journey and became the awesome and cool badass Batman that we all know and love. And also on how his relationship with Gordon started. The story starts with Bruce Wayne returning to Gotham after 18 years of being abroad, which I'm guessing during that time he was training. He did all of his training, and also at the same time, Gordon comes to Gotham after in his former city, I guess, in police station, he has accused of cop of something, a fellow cop probably, and he didn't have strong enough evidence, and it blew up in his face, from what I understand. And also hoping that Barbara's tests come back negative. They think she might be pregnant, and so yes, and she and she does end up pregnant. But this whole story goes over a period of almost a year. And so we see how they start. Gordon and Bruce Wayne. So Gordon's getting to know the city and the police station, the entire police, not the entire, but most of the police station is corrupt. Cops, as he says, are like hire killers. Commissioner Loeb is a greedy asshole and not a very pleasant man. And Detective Flash is also an asshole. And Bruce also comes back and sees his city, how it's gotten much worse, and we see that he's preparing and he needs the right time. Now, in all honesty, there was some words that Bruce said that I couldn't really understand well because it was written in that squiggly handwriting, which I, for the life of me, can't interpret and read. I mean. Fuck, give me Egyptian hieroglyphics. I think I'd manage better. Yes, we see him breaking a tree in half, which was fucking cool. That is some training. Alright, so Barbara's tests are positive, and now Jim has to worry about bringing a baby into and then raising him in Gotham, which is not too exciting. So Jim starts his work in the police station, and Bruce continues his training, and also starting to look at Gotham. So Gordon is not really fitting in because he's not corrupt as most of the cops in the police, and so Detective Flash decides to so kindly help him with that. He gets a bunch of other cops, and they, in masks, of course, beat him up and tell him you have a pregnant wife. They beat him enough to, keep him out of the hospital. And Gordon decides to warn Flash back. Flash. I'm not even sure that's how you pronounce his last name. So anyway, he before he faints from being beaten, he recognizes Flash's voice. And so later on, he has his own revenge on him. He stalks him, and then he beats him up himself and leaves him naked on the side of the road in the snow. That was an interesting touch. In the meantime, Bruce decides to go, walk down the city of Gotham, see how much worse it has become. So he puts on makeup, a fake scar, hides his identity, and we see him walking down the streets. Crime, hookers, all the usual good stuff. And we meet, in that instance, we meet Selena Kyle, Catwoman, who is interesting. I think the only arc of Catwoman I know is the one from the Batman movie where that blonde lady played her. I don't remember her name. Where she falls out, where that asshole pushes her off a really high building, and then cats walk around her, and she wakes up like in some voodoo shit, and then she goes maniac. So in here, Selena, well, looks mainly like Selena. She does still have a lot of cats, and she's a hooker slash dominatrix. I mean, she don't actually see her sleep with anyone, but from that little conversation she has while we walk with Batman, I think she's whipping someone or something. She has a lot of cats, and she also has a friend, sort of friend, a girl named Holly, who's, in all honesty, I don't think she's more than 16 years old. I mean, no, there are flat chested women, but still, I don't think she's really a lot older than 16. She's not very good since she works as a hooker. She approaches Bruce and asks him if he wants to spend the night with her. Anyway, that's when a fight ensues between Bruce and Holly's pimp, which I forgot his name. Right. Anyway, they start fighting. Selena sees that Holly almost gets hurt because Bruce has to push her off. She stabs him with a knife. So she jumps down, where we see she got her skills as Catwoman. She starts fighting with Bruce. So we have our first Catwoman Bruce interaction. I mean, Selena Bruce interaction. So anyway, they fight, then the police come. Now Bruce is badly hurt. They arrest him, and they take him with them. And he realizes he has to escape, or else he's fucked. They'll find out who he is, and that'll just bring all the everything he's planning down. Now he manages to, well, honestly, he just breaks the cuffs. I mean, that is some training. And he crashes the police car, and fire starts. And before he leaves, he saves the cops that are in the car. He pulls them out, and then he somehow manages to get back to his car, bleeding, mind you, and to drive home. Actually, on the way that he drives home, he and Gordon almost bump with each other. Which is nice because towards the end there's also another instance like that. So anyway, Bruce goes home. Also, also Gordon goes home. And then we see Bruce sitting in his study, looking at a sculpture of his father, telling his father that he has no more patience to wait. It feels like he has to act now, or else there's no point in him being saved. He might as well die tonight. Because Alfred has combat medical training. That is awesome. And so as he sits there, suddenly a bat flies right through the glass. That's one hell of a strong bat. And sits on his father's statue head. The statue of his father. And that's when Bruce gets the idea. A bat. He used to be scared of them as a child, and now he will use it. He'll use the bat to scare them. And then he rings to Alfred. And so we continue as months pass, and Bruce starts. He already has the costume, and he starts going around. And he first starts with stopping petty crimes like stealing and all that, and gangs. And we see how he slowly like goes up a ladder with Gotham's crimes. And we see him training, we see him making mistakes. He tells himself he shouldn't have been so reckless or done that so fast, which is interesting because in other times where I know Batman, he's already very well, calculated and all that. He plans like 10 steps ahead. So it's an interesting change to see him when he just started, when he didn't plan 10 steps ahead exactly, where he made mistakes that almost cost him his life. And so as you go on to the future, that makes sense of how good he got at that. Because he made mistakes and he kept learning from it. And so the next times he did things, he already did them a lot better. Because he knew that he should think forward. So we continue. Gordon keeps working with the police. Barbara's pregnancy continues. Bruce continues getting into Gotham's crimes. The, first, Gordon, wants to arrest him when they find out about Batman. Gordon also has an affair with a sergeant of his. I only remember her first name. I'm not even sure you pronounce her surname. So her name is Sarah. At first, she's just a sergeant, but as time progresses, they have somewhat of an affair together. And we also have Harvey Dent here is to start trying to put criminals behind bars, but witnesses keep disappearing. At some point, Batman and Harvey Dent start working together. Batman actually scares the living daylights out of one criminal, and he gets him to come and testify against Flash. I mean, fuck, even after the dude has been poisoned with rat poisoning, barely made it, and even then he's going to testify. He's more afraid of Batman than of death. I mean, that is something. Or actually, more accurately, of the other criminals. That's how terrifying Batman is. Alright, so we continue. At some point, Sergeant Sarah and Gordon, they have a suspicion that Batman might be Bruce Wayne. Because someone who runs around like that needs resources, a lot of resources. And they say, well, his parents were killed at the age of 6, so he must have some issues, enough to go around in a cape, which is quite funny. And forward on, Barbara and Gordon actually go to visit Bruce Wayne in his mansion. He's sitting there with champagne and a woman. They're together, putting up a show for Gordon and Barbara. So then they leave. Barbara calls him a pig. She tells Gordon she thinks he's a pig. And that moment, Barbara, and then not Barbara, Gordon, that is the moment he actually. Before that, Commissioner Loeb has found out about his and Sergeant Sarah's affair. But before that, she already left. She moved to another department. And so they kind of now have something on him. Because before that, Gordon didn't inform them that that criminal was going to testify against Flash. So Gordon decides to come clean to Barbara and tell her about the whole affair. Then we continue. Then Gordon has a son. His son's born. He was actually hoping for a boy, so we have James Jr. Oh, and also in the midst of it all, Selena decided she and Holly are going to leave prostitution and start, well, stealing. So she punches their pimp and they leave. She buys the Catwoman costume and actually her first steal is from Commissioner Loeb. She steals his entire Funko memorabilia. Can't really sell it, but it was still funny. Then she goes to steal from someone else. She seems to know the dude somewhat. He's really big and important. At the same time, Batman is gathering information about him. And he's interrupted when Selena gets there. Now she's about to fight them all, but then Batman just shoots darts at them, and that's it. They're all down. And then you see Selena like give a smile and she scratches the man's face. She has some claws on that costume. Oh, and I forgot. But before that, there is Batman makes another mistake. Actually, he is. You see, Gordon and Sarah, they're driving, and then Truckman seems to have lost control of his truck, and he's about to hit a homeless woman, an old homeless woman. Then Batman saves her, and then Gordon gets hit from the car, and they think they got Batman. Sarah's holding a gun to him, but he manages to subdue her. But before that, she already called for backup. He's being shot at, and he runs into what appears to be an empty building. And then, oh, at that point, Commissioner Loeb wants to get him badly because he actually came into a party of his with his other rich and quite corrupted friends. And so, ooh, he wants him bad. And so he gets his squad. Now there's I guess it's a special force squad that are just sadists. Seriously, they will kill. Simply just go kill. And so they bomb this building, but there are still people inside it. They don't properly check. They just drop bombs freely. Now Batman doesn't manage to save an old man that's also being hit while he is from the bomb. He, he feels terrible about it. But he does manage to survive because there's a little, I guess sort of a basement. He gets down there and survives. Now that team goes inside in three groups, and they're still determined to just kill him. But he manages to put many of them down, not kill, just they're all unconscious. And he even saves a cat. And he punches a guy through a fucking wall. Through a wall. Alright? He punches him through a wall. That is. And then he also made up a device that lets him call bats to him. So while he's hiding there, he presses it. And then just when you think, that's it, they're going to get him, a whole army, a sea of bats come to him, and it's beautiful chaos. Everyone's screaming, bats everywhere. Beautiful. So he manages to escape. Commissioner Loeb yells, "Get him!" They don't manage to catch him. One asshole actually goes into the sea with his police car. He just keeps driving after the bats, and they fall. Uh, At some point, Batman turns off the device and takes a turn, so the bats keep flying, but he's no longer among them. Funny thing is, Gordon calls the bats his pets. That is funny. Around that time, Gordon is not so sure about Batman anymore. So then we get to the part where after they interview Bruce Wayne. Bruce asks Alfred about his performance. And then later on, he also realizes he needs someone at his side with this whole thing. He needs James Gordon. Anyway, fast forward, they call Barbara about the affair, but she tells him she knows and to leave her alone. Then James Jr. is born, and things continue to go. People continue to go behind bars. And then the guy who Selena scratches and Batman takes down everyone, he sends his nephew after Gordon. He tells him to go take his son and wife. And so one morning, Commissioner Loeb calls him, tells him he has to go take care of something, just to get him out of the apartment. And before that, Bruce is listening to the conversation he recorded, and then he suddenly realizes something and he goes out. And there was a funny line there. Going out again, sir? Shall I get you your tights? That was funny. And then Bruce tells him, "Not in the daytime, Alfred. Never in the daytime." So, Bruce puts on everything to go on a bike, also bulletproof vest. Smart guy. So he goes to the where the Gordons are, where they live, and again, this is already at the end. He and Gordon again come across each other, almost close, and that's when Gordon gets a bad feeling and he turns around. And just as he gets into the parking garage, he sees, more correctly, he hears his son crying, and then he sees that they got Barbara and James. He realizes if he doesn't do something now, that they tell him, "Wait here, we'll call you." But he knows that if he doesn't do something now, they'll be both dead. So he starts shooting at the two men who are holding Barbara. She squats down, and then the car that has James in it starts driving. Gordon tells Barbara to get out of there and find a cop. He shoots Bruce right in the chest. Well, he does think he's one of those people. He takes his motorcycle and goes after the car. Bruce gets up and he wants to go after him, and then Barbara tells him to lie down or she'll kill him. But he tells her, "Trust me, Mrs. Gordon, I'll make sure your boy is okay. But you have to trust me." Barbara doesn't shoot him, and so he takes a bike from someone and goes after them. Now Gordon manages to catch up with the car and shoot the wheels. The car bumps into the bridge. Gordon gets off and quickly goes to see his son. He doesn't hear any crying, which makes him worried. Just as he approaches, the other guy opens the door and bumps him, and he's still holding his kid. At that time, Bruce also arrives and he jumps on top of the bridge. Then an altercation starts, and as they are struggling, that the bad guy loses grip on, and his son falls. He falls down below into the water. Then we see Bruce dive down to get him, and the both of them, Gordon and the bad guy, also fall down. Uh, right. Yes, they've fallen down. Gordon gets up, and just as he gets up, we see Bruce handing him his son. Now, Gordon is practically blind without his glasses, so he doesn't know who Bruce is. And then he in a sense thanks him. He tells him, "I'm practically blind without my glasses." And then they hear the sirens, and he tells him, "You should go." Barbara also caught up with them. So she looks down. She's crying. Her son lived, and so that's it. Then after that, we come to the conclusion. Loeb is now under a lot of pressure. A lot of people are testifying. Flass is actually testifying against him. He apparently had records of every of their conversations. He made notes. So he's under a lot of heat. And a new commissioner is about to take his place, and Gordon says that he's even worse. He and Barbara are going to counseling. She's not too crazy about that, but they're making progress. And we actually ended with the Joker. Gordon says there's now some guy named the Joker. But it's okay. Soon a friend will come that can help him with that. And that's what I take as the beginning of their friendship partnership. Alright? I've been rambling long, haven't I? Alright, let's get to the art. So, in conclusion, this was a really good story. It started, now technically 5 days ago. And yesterday I just couldn't stop reading it. It just kept going and going. Alright. Oh, I forgot to mention, we also see the moment where he's with his parents in his eyes. Interesting bit. They say he's 6 years old, but he does look a bit older than 6, in all honesty. No, though some kids are taller for their age, so maybe that's it. So I love the art. It really has a cool style. And the colors really do. They fit the situation. You feel. I felt really sucked in by the art. I love their rain scenes. So right, we see it. Look at that tree breaking. Alright, so I'm not gonna go each page. We're gonna skip. I mean, look at the colors, the way they work. Just feels even more awesome with the scene. That is Selena. She looks really cool. Oh, that's Holly. That's Bruce over there. I mean, I don't know. I really loved it. The colors just make it even more awesome. I love Selena's look as well. Alright, there, Gordon beats Flash. Apparently, Gordon has military training. That is awesome. I mean, look at those eyes. The expression. Alright, see the squiggly writing. I'll read it. Oh, now that. That is an awesome moment. I mean, look at that. Got some Batman. I mean, look at their rain scenes. Oh, this was a cool moment. That's where Gordon becomes a hero to the press. So Commissioner Loeb has a problem with him because he has the press on his side. Barbara. Pregnancy is getting there. Here, look at Batman's expression here. Sorry, right over there. I mean, how many times do you see Batman actually make all sorts of faces? It was really something, to see him unsure of himself or what he's doing. But I'm so used to the Batman who thinks 10 steps ahead of his enemies and always ready for everything. So it was interesting to see him in the beginning of his way. Alright, there's the dinner with the scummy rich people. There's that. Oh, there's Sarah. Batman left him naked. Is there a thing in this with, like, leaving people tied up and naked? Is that a fetish? Ah, there Batman saves the old lady. Oh, I mean, look at that destruction. These people are bloodthirsty. Oh, look at that. The bats. Alright, it looks even better when you go forward. Alright, yeah, here they are. I gotta show you the scene with the bats. Batman just takes them down. Alright, let's get to the... Oh, here. Look at that beautiful bat chaos. That is amazing. I mean, look at it. This is one of my favorite scenes in the story. Ah, then everyone had to get shots for bat bites. Selena does not look pleased. I think they have to do them in your butt. No wonder then. Right there we see Selena as Catwoman. These are two really cool scenes. I'll get that one especially. That's not a scene, that's art in the book. There, Sarah is leaving. Got a bit of Harvey Dent before he becomes Two-Face. There they are at Bruce's house. Look at that. You see Alfred's like, He's none too pleased. Alright, let's skip. Poor Barbara. Alright. Ah, here he is. That's where they grab his son. There he shoots Bruce. So, look at this moment. He saves his baby. Aww. Now, the interesting thing, I know in some storyline, Gordon has a daughter, Barbara Gordon. I mean, is that like a completely different storyline, or I mean, I know he adopts her. So was she already named the Barbara, or did he name her Barbara? Did something happen to this Barbara? That's like the one thing I didn't understand. Alright, here we go. And this is how we conclude the story. Awesome. And here we just have, there's a bunch of art and all sorts of that for the story. So in conclusion, this was awesome. So really, I found myself sucked in. Well, I do love Batman. And I have been told there's a year two, so I'll be looking for that. This is a really great story. It was awesome to see Batman just starting out. You know, not still being completely the Batman that we know. Anyway, great. Love the art. Well, that is it, folks. Till next time. Bye.